Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome, and thank you for joining in for this session. Okay, so first of all, this is a session where I would like to share with you something which happened to me sometime late last year, and I recovered. I fell on a heart attack, okay, and then I recovered, and then I'm on the journey of full recovery, progressing well, okay, and I learned a lot of things. So this particular program is meant for me to share with you the praise and thanks I have to God, which I want to share with all of y'all, okay, because it was God who was with me throughout this time. And at the same time, I would also like to share with you some of the things I learned about healthy living. All of us need to be healthy. Okay, so they say, to be wealthy, you need to be healthy. Okay, so how important is health? How I discovered that, and the little things which I learned, which may be of some use for anyone. Okay, so it's basically just a sharing with all those family members as well as some friends, okay, and also some church members. So once again, thank you all for joining in this session. Okay, so I have actually muted all participants, but after that, if you want to ask something towards the end, kindly do unmute yourself and you can ask me the question later. Okay. So we shall start straight away. Okay. So I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure how many of you know this, okay, or heard about this, or read about this. Okay. A fact that 33% of death in the world every year, and this particular statistics is taken from 2019, and the current year and even the last year, the statistics only shows a little bit of increase, not reduction. 33% of people who are dying, they have died from heart diseases. Yes, that's alarming. Alarming. Okay. So many people die every day. And out of that, 33% is because of heart diseases. So it is a frightening thing. So much so that in the medical field, some people call this particular thing called a heart attack, they nickname it as the widowmaker. The widowmaker. Why we call it as a widowmaker? Because some people, when they have a heart attack, that's the end of their life. And then their spouse becomes a widow or a widower or something like that. So that seems to be the strange, let's call it nickname for this particular condition called a heart attack. So that's frightening. Okay, so what exactly is a heart attack? So many of you may know what is a heart attack because of your knowledge of science, knowledge of medicine. But I'm going to show you what was a heart attack based on my experience. Okay, so there's going to be three parts to today's sharing, my reflection today with you all. Okay, the first one is my personal testimony on my recent heart attack and recovery. Okay, the second part is some of the research I went on doing after I recovered and after I came out from the hospital alive, okay, well and ticking. I did some research to find out more about heart attacks, how it can help me, and how I can, help myself, recover and prevent another heart attack, maybe. What did I find? Okay, that's the second portion of my sharing. And the third portion of the sharing is what worked for me. Okay, of course, the research, you find so many things, but some things worked for me. And what it did to me, and a call to healthy life. So I have broken this particular sharing into three parts. Okay, so I just am going to move into the first portion, my personal testimony on my recent heart attack. Okay, my testimony. By God's grace, I'm still alive. That's evident. If not, I won't be sitting in front of you and talking to you today. Okay, I was still alive at that time, and I'm still alive 8 months later. Okay, I had a heart attack on 24th of October 2023. Okay, what exactly happened? Very briefly, very briefly, what exactly happened? See, on the 24th of October 2023, at around 4:50 a.m., 4:50, before 5 a.m., I left my son's apartment in KL, leaving to go to Malacca. I wanted to go to do some work there. I had a training workshop to conduct in Malacca, and I wanted to leave early, reach there on time, have my breakfast, conduct the session, and stay there that night. Okay, stay there the night. And then after the 2 days there, proceed to Johor for another set of work. Okay. So that was my agenda for the week. So I left. I reached Alor Gajah, somewhere near Malacca, somewhere, sometime, in less than 2 hours, I reached there. I had a quick snack, I bought something at a 7-Eleven outlet because I'll be having my breakfast much later at the place where I'm going to work. I had a snack there in the with something which I bought at the 7-Eleven, and then I proceeded to my workplace at the factory which makes Honda cars. Those cars, if you have a Honda car, it's all made there. So I went to the factory, I started my workshop. Less than an hour's time after I started my workshop, I suddenly felt very, very giddy. Everything started to be spinning around me. So I thought something was really off the air, and something is not right. I quickly went and sat down and started to rest. And I told the people for whom I was giving the workshop to just sit down and have a short discussion. And I don't know what happened. The next moment, when I opened my eyes, I saw about 20 over people standing around me, calling my name and asking me, "What's wrong?" Only then I knew that something had gone wrong to me. I had blacked out, I had fallen, okay, and something had gone wrong to me. I got up, and less than a minute, okay, I said, okay, I want to get up. I threw out, I vomited. And then pain started to take place in me, okay. And then I went to the toilet, and in the toilet, I couldn't move. I asked for help. And then about 10 of them had to bring a stretcher, carry me from the fourth floor down a set of stairs to their in-house clinic. Okay. So I had a severe heart attack, which I did not know what. I thought I just had fainted. Something was just slightly wrong with me, with some pain at my back. Okay. So that's what I thought. So there was luckily an in-house doctor at their clinic who tried to take my pressure and my pulse, and he was a bit worried, and then he was startled because at the time he was trying to take my pressure, and at the time when he was trying to get my pulse, he could get neither of it. Okay. So he could get neither my pressure nor my pulse because it could not be felt by him. So he was very much alerted. So he told everyone, we got to just get him into a car and take him to the hospital right away. There's no time even to call for an ambulance because he's a doctor himself. And he jumped into the car together with a bunch of people. Okay. And then he was ready to do CPR on me. Off and on, I was just going off going into blankness. And then he would just beat me and wake me up and tell the rest of them, jangan bagi dia tidur. Suruh dia cakap dengan dia. He was shouting away, almost like scolding everyone. And then everyone was beating me and talking to me every time. I was just blanking out. Okay. So luckily, this particular hospital was less than 10 minutes away from the Alor Gajah hospital. They brought me there. They were speeding, I believe. They brought me there, and then a bunch of people rushed out from the emergency, took me into the emergency area. And then, as you know, in emergency, what takes place? They put all sorts of things on you and poke all sorts of things onto you. And then they started doing all sorts of things with an ECG taken. And then one doctor came and told me, I was a little bit alert at the time, okay? A little bit alert at the time. Okay, uncle, you are having a massive heart attack. This is the big one. That's what they told me. Okay, you're having a massive heart attack. This is a big one. Okay, so just hang on there. We got to take care of you. Okay, that's what he told me. And then there were all these people, at least about 5, 6 of them around me, trying to do all sorts of things with me. Okay, and things went on there. I just want to cut a long story short. Okay. So Alur Gaja Hospital is a district hospital. It's not a big hospital in a large city. So it has a specialist, it has some good doctors, it has ICU, it has wards, it has an emergency center, but it does not have cardio centers. You don't have cardiologists there. You don't have heart specialists there. You don't have people like that. Okay. So you got to do with the specialists there and the doctors there. So they said they're going to give me a special kind of a jab which can actually try to make my heart beat better and the blood flow fast, okay, thin it, okay, which may have very serious side effects, which may cause internal bleeding, external bleeding, all sorts of bleedings, okay. So do you agree that we give this shot to you? Okay, this is the only thing we have here. If this doesn't work, we have no choice but to rush you to a bigger hospital. So I sort of mumbled to them, what choice do I have? Just put the jab. Okay. So that's what I told them. Okay. So they jabbed me. And by God's grace, they did a second ECG, third ECG, and while they did the first and the second and the third ECG, the doctors were not very happy. Nothing much was happening. My heart was still not functioning very well. But by the time they did the fourth ECG, one doctor came and told me, Uncle, good news. Looks like you are improving. Looks like blood is flowing better. The ECG seems to be showing that you're improving. Okay. So we will not be moving you to a bigger hospital because we called two places. They called the Regional Heart Center, which is in Serdang, and they also called Malacca General Hospital. And both the people there, they said, if he is getting stable, don't move him because you don't even have a life-saving car in Alur Gaja. So unless he's not recovering, then you move him here. So they said, we're going to keep you and observe. So they kept me. And later, after about 9-10 hours at the emergency, they moved me into the ICU and did various kinds of treatment there for another 5-6 days, and then another few more days at the recovery ward. And then I came out of Alur Gaja alive. Okay, alive. And then I moved on to KL, to Serdang actually, to see a cardiologist. And from there, they did an angiogram to me. And they found out I have 4 blocks, okay, out of which one was about 90%. Okay, so among the medical field, the people who are the cardiologists, if you have a heart attack caused by a block which is more than 90%, that's what they nickname it as a widowmaker heart attack. So I survived the widowmaker. I did not make any widow. And I thank God that I survived. Okay, I thank God that He allowed me to walk free from that hospital alive. Okay, all praise and glory be to God for this experience of mine. Okay. So when I was done an angiogram, when they saw the 4 blocks, they saw that only that one block was very critical. The rest were not so critical. So they put stents for it, couple of stents on that one particular block. Okay, that particular vessel. They put 2 stents in the same location, one after the other. Okay, to open it up. And they said, we will leave the rest of the blocks there and see what happens. Okay, we will see what happens. Okay, so in fact, I'm due to go for another checkup. I'm not too sure what they're going to do in a couple of weeks' time in Serdang. Since then, I'm just going for follow-up checkups to see my condition. Okay, I survived the day. God helped me. God made me recover. Okay, now this is something which I consider as a second life for me. Okay, so I was born in a small town in Perak called Batu Gajah. I think most of you know. Okay, I was born in Batu Gajah, but I was reborn with a second life after my heart attack in another small town called Alur Gajah. Both also Gajah, so something to do with Gajah. I don't know why. Okay. So with the the elephant-like strength of God, He somehow made me walk alive. Okay, for the second time in my life. Okay, so I came out alive from my mother's womb, and this time I came out alive from a death-threatening illness, which I never knew I had for all my life. I never had heart complications. I never had any kinds of symptoms which was related to heart. No, I used to go and do checkups. I used to go for all sorts of scanning and this for other things, but nothing related me to heart. Okay, so our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. So I believe that God had guarded this body of mine. So because he still wants to continue to dwell in my body. So I thank and praise God for this thing which had happened to me. Okay. So, and I glorify him and I praise him for that. Okay. So God works wonders in people. Okay. Now, what did we learn from all this? That will take me to the second part of my sharing today. Okay. Because God does wonders. Even if I had died, okay, even if I had died, okay. So for me personally, nothing to lose. You know why? I will be with the God who created me. Okay. So if I'm walking alive, it has got nothing to do with me. That's what I came out thinking. If I died, I had everything to gain and nothing to lose. I had the thing which I will gain, that is being with the God who created me, okay, 58 years ago. But if I had come out alive, that is not meant for myself. God had meant it for something else, for someone else, because he is giving me another term to live, to do something. Okay. So that is what I want to focus on. Okay. So I had to reflect on many things: my spirituality, my mental health, my emotional health, my physical health. Okay. Everything I had to reflect on, I had to think. Okay. So a couple of it I want to share with you all. Okay. So that is my sharing today. Okay. Now, the second thing, the main aim of me sharing, on top of me sharing how I recovered from this, how God saved me, and giving thanks to God and sharing the glory of God for giving me another chance to live in this world for his purpose, not for my purpose. My purpose is to die and go off. But for his purpose, I praise and thank God. Okay. So now this second life gave me awakening eye to do research and finding on why I fell on an heart attack. Because I knew that God never created me with any disease. Right from young, I was a healthy guy. No, I was a healthy guy. I was a sportsman. I was a sprint runner in school. I was a long distance runner. Okay. I was a martial artist. Okay. I was even a martial arts instructor at some point of time. I led a healthy lifestyle. Okay. And somehow, many years later, now I fall on a heart attack. What had caused this thing to me? I got to answer to myself. Okay. I got to find out. Okay. What went wrong? Okay. It's not God who made me unhealthy. Okay. But it is me who had made myself unhealthy and put myself in a situation where I had to go through a heart attack and come out of it. So I should learn something from it, because my body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. God resides in me. I got to find out where I went wrong, not taking care of this body which God gave me. So I had to fight the root of all evil that struck me sick. Yes, I cannot fight the evil. I need to fight the root of all evil. That's what I told myself. So I had to do a lot of research. Okay. So when you start doing research, I had this thing, this belief, which is deep inside me. Okay. We cannot research and learn things on our own. It is God who has to teach us. And I know that, by the fact that I'm blessed by God. God's Spirit is inside me. The Holy Spirit will teach me things as long as I am seeking it. The Holy Spirit will reveal things to me. With that attitude, I started researching on many things. Of course, I'm not going to talk about the many things I researched. I'm only going to talk about the health matters I researched about, because I wish to share what I learned. I hope that it will help many people. So I want to share those research about the health that I did and what I learned through my research. Okay, now this Holy Spirit led me not to learn from just anything and everything, but through sources which are reliable, through sources which are trustworthy, through sources which are proven. Okay. So my research for the first 2 months and then continued research until today led me to various specialists, various world level specialists, professors, cardiologists, not just anyone, not just any persons whose names are coming out in medical journals, people who are giving talks in Harvard University, Johns Hopkins, or Stanford, or you name it. Okay. These people are people who are changing even science as they learn. Okay, somehow God led me to these people to learn from them. I read their articles, I heard their talks, I consulted their material, and I learned so much. Okay, so I'm sharing these faces here as a gratitude to these people, because their contribution to science, their contribution to medicine helped me and is helping millions around the world. Okay, I want to name each and every one of these specialists I learned from. Okay, the one who had the most influence in teaching me and changing my entire lifestyle is a cardiologist by the name of Dr. Philip Ovadia. All these people are Googleable. You can find them in the Google. You can find them in journals and so on. Okay. The next most influential person to me in my research was Dr. Nadir Ali. Both are cardiologists, experts, okay, teaching as well as treating, and the rest of them had equal amount of influence in what I researched. Dr. Joseph Takahashi, a Japanese neurobiologist who is in US, Professor Dr. Panda, he is a scientist who is in the US, Dr. Pradeep, who is a cardiologist, Dr. Palaniappan, who is a gastroenterologist who is in US, Dr. Ford Brewer, who is a preventive health medicine specialist from US, and Jesse Incost, who is a biochemist from France. Why I'm mentioning all these names is because I want to pay tribute to them from what I learned, things which I must share with people, things which has benefited me a lot, and I want to share good news with people. And good news has come to me by God through them. Okay. Okay, so I learned many things. Of course, I'm not going to give you a long lecture on what I learned, but I want to summarize things. Okay, I'm going to summarize some facts, some striking facts which I learned from so much of reading, which all these specialists, okay, unanimously seem to be agreeing. And of course, I find more and more and more and more and more evidence abroad as well as locally in medical journals, in research, agreeing to these same few points which I learned, which I have pointed out in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points here. Okay. Okay. And these are all related to heart disease and things which are happening to people's heart, which is causing almost 33% of people falling dead because of a heart attack. Okay. Okay. So the first point I learned is the main root cause. I'm not talking about causes. There are many causes, hundreds of causes, thousands of causes, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Okay. I don't wish to go into. But I just wish to go into the main root causes of heart attack are inflammation and metabolic disease and not fat. I repeat, the main root cause of heart attacks are inflammation and metabolic disease and not fat. Now, people tell you, don't eat too much fatty food, you're going to fall on a heart attack. Okay, fat does have connection with heart attack, but that's not the root cause of heart attack. That's the biggest learning I learned. Okay, that's the biggest learning I learned. Okay, because I was not so much of a fatty food eater anyway. Okay, and the many friends whom I had who fell on a heart attack were not a big fat friend. Fat friend means fatty food friend. They did eat quite reasonably unfatty food and still fell on a heart attack. Okay, so I found out the main root cause of heart attack is inflammation and metabolic disease. Second, the second fact I learned is sugar is the main culprit. Sugar is the main culprit which causes inflammation and metabolic disease. Again, it's not LDL or fat. Okay. The third point I learned, okay, through this research and also through observation, okay, we people in this world, okay, we people in Malaysia, we people in every part of the world, okay, everywhere, okay, we are just eating too much poison every day, okay, and we cannot control it. There's too much of poison in the world, okay, very frightening. Huh? We are eating too much poison. So I'm going to share with you how much poison there is in this world. We cannot avoid eating poisons for some reason because we are caught in this system of poison, okay, but at least how we can reduce it. And I learned the next fact is the number one driver of plaque. You know, they say that plaque is in your heart, so the plaque has blocked the blood from flowing. Okay, it's not fat, it's inflammation. Okay, heart problem, a condition called heart problem, and most other sickness is insulin resistant. Okay, so plaque, inflammation, heart problem, and most other sickness is caused by insulin resistance. Okay, insulin resistance. So here you have the magic word. If you can control sugar and insulin resistance, you can control many, 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 many illnesses in the world. That's the big thing I learned. Okay. And I learned the next point. Our eating timing matters. When we eat matters. Okay. So in summary, what I learned is main root cause of heart attack is inflammation and metabolic disease. Sugar is the main culprit. We are eating too much. And the number one driver of plaque, inflammation, and heart problem is insulin resistance. And our eating timing matters. Okay. So after 7-8 months of research and so much of reading and so much of experiencing and testing on myself, I'm a believer of all these things. Okay. So I'm not a medical doctor. I am not a researcher. I'm not a scientist. I'm just relying on information given to me by the scientists and using it on myself and seeing results and sharing what I've experienced. That's all. That's all there is to it. This is in no way some kind of a medical advice which should be reliable. What the doctor says is final for each person's health, okay? But we are just informing each other on what we learn, which is useful for each other. Okay, now let's go into this. Now, I told you that the number one culprit is what we eat and sugar, right? So this is what we call as metabolic disorder. The number one evil. See, if the number one evil for all sorts of sickness is metabolic disorder, okay, then it's within our control. Because metabolic disorders come from our eating pattern. What we eat, when we eat, how much we eat. Very simple. What we eat, when we eat, how much we eat. These three things determine metabolic disorders or whether we have it or not. Okay. So to me, it was good news. Okay. And okay, so just to put some humor into it, this image over here, okay, this image over here quite resembles the kind of tummy I was having when I had my heart attack. Huh? Okay, so it looked something like this. And probably the contents inside it would have been somewhat similar also. So no wonder there was some plaque in me and then it was causing some heart attack. Okay, so this food is dangerous. How much you eat is dangerous. Okay, so I learned this. In the hard way, okay? Hard way. Okay, so the doctor who discharged me from Alogaja, the lady, she's a specialist. She walked to me on the day she's discharging me and she told me, I'm going to give you a news. Don't be angry with me because she seemed like a no-nonsense, straight to the point kind of a person. Don't be angry with me. I have to break the news to you. Most people who have a heart attack of your nature, okay, 70-80% of them will fall on a second heart attack within 6 months. And if the second heart attack resembles the first one, chances are another 50% of them will drop dead on the road. So don't become like that. Do some changes. That's what she told me. Okay. But too bad she didn't tell me what changes to do. Okay, so that was left up to me. So I had to do this research so that I don't fall on another heart attack within the next 6 months, and I continue to walk. It has already become 8 months, so I survived that threat already. Okay. Okay. Now, what is insulin resistance? I've already told you what we eat, when we eat, and how much we eat is metabolic syndrome. The second thing is I need to tell you the biggest evil is sugar, or we call it as when you have too much sugar in your body, it means that the insulin, which is supposed to control the sugar in your body, is not able to control it anymore. This is the condition we call as insulin resistance. Okay. So from one of those doctors I showed earlier, I have taken this diagram. I'm in no way going to explain this diagram to you. I am not a scientist to explain this to you, but just to show you that they are showing that it is the insulin resistance which eventually is causing your formation of artery diseases, plaque formation, and various kinds of heart conditions. Okay. So points made. Metabolic disease, insulin resistance. You control these two, lots and lots and lots of things will be going fine for you. So much for, okay, all this science. So the one point I would like everyone to take away, I took away, is sugar, processed sugar, sugar as it is made by man is poison. Yes, I equate it to poison. Okay. Okay, so man made sugar, God made, okay, carbohydrate, which will turn into, okay, sucrose and fructose into our body. Okay, it was man who made processed sugar. Okay, and this has turned out to be poison. Okay, okay, so that's it. Okay, now if what we eat, when we eat, how much we eat is important, I started observing the eating patterns of Malaysians and also to a big extent how I eat. Okay, so we Malaysians tend to eat a lot and very frequently. Around 7 a.m. we would have breakfast. We will have bread, cereal, and fruit juice. Chances are something else. Okay, these are just sample things. I put a typical breakfast for a Malaysian. Okay. Then around 10 a.m. we will have break time snack again. That's where we go and enjoy our nasi lemak, roti canai, teh tarik, or maybe Nescafe tarik. Okay, we must kena this one. Okay, we don't kena, the day doesn't start. Okay, then around 12:30, maybe for some of us 1 p.m. lunch starts. Okay, what do we have for lunch? Rice. For some of us biryani, mee goreng. Okay, mee soup, canned drink. Okay, the Coca-Cola must be there. The Sprite must be there. Okay, for some of us we may love fruit juice. Okay, then comes 3:30 p.m. Okay, our head will go spinning if we don't have our pisang goreng, fried snack, teh tarik again. So we must kena again. Okay, if not, the day won't run. Okay, then somewhere around 6:30 p.m., some of us will yield into a happy hour. Some of us will not because we are still working. Okay, but most people do. Okay, they jam in. Okay, for a happy hour with beer or something like that. Or some may have an early dinner again with rice, roti, noodles, and things like that. Okay. Then those who didn't have the happy hour, or even those who had a happy hour, maybe around 8:30, for some around 9 p.m., dinner. Again, what? Rice, noodles, canned drinks. Okay. And no joke, no end, 10:30 p.m., you got to take your car or walk out for supper. Food courts, okay? 24-hour mamak outlets, noodles, nasi lemak again, roti canai, fruit juices, wine, whiskey, beer, okay? Okay, now this seems to be the lifestyle for most, not all. Most, not all, not all, okay? For me, at times, not all the times, okay? Now, does this resemble me? That's the question I ask. Maybe to a big extent, okay? Our life seems to be either eating at certain times or most times, and the rest of the time thinking about eating, okay? So this is a problem, a big problem, okay? So the big problem I thought we need to change. Metabolic disease starts with this, okay? Now, I started looking at what do I eat, okay? What do you eat? It's just a question. No answer needs to be given. I don't have to give you an answer what I ate, okay? It's just something to reflect about. Now, if you eat one or two of these things on this image on a daily basis, okay, like rice, okay, like bread, like burger, okay, like potato chips, like, canned drinks, okay, then we are asking for trouble, okay, cornflakes, okay, cereals, my goodness, okay. Now, these are all 90% carbohydrate, 90% carbohydrate, and remaining direct processed sugars and nothing else. Okay. A little bit of protein we may eat here and there. Okay. So, one leads to another. One evil, which is processed food with high sugar, leads to the other evil because we are eating too much, which is metabolic disease. There we have our problem. So I've told myself, got to change, must change, have to change. Okay. So I wanted to change. I wanted to change myself. Okay. And I concluded, with this learning from my research. Okay. As I told you, I'm not going to give you a long-winded tale of all the things I researched and learned. I have summarized, okay, the two main factors, metabolic syndrome and insulin resistance. Metabolic syndrome is eating habits, what you eat when you eat, and insulin resistance is taking too much sugar or taking too much carbohydrate, which will turn into sugar. This is the root of all evil. This is the root of all evil. And this was the root of the evil which struck me on a plague, which struck me on an inflammation, which kept on breaking the plaque which was formed in my arteries. And then it was healing by itself. And then it was inflammation again caused by the sugar. And then it was healing again. And then there was inflammation again. And then there was healing again. This repeated process over the years made the plaque grow from 5%, 10%, 15%, 20% until it's 90% and one day becomes 100%. And there you are, you'll get the heart attack. As simple as that. Sugar, inflammation, plaque, inflammation, healing, plaque, inflammation, healing, plaque, inflammation, healing, plaque. That's all there is. No other magic. And all this is caused by nobody else but ourselves. Okay. So we don't have to blame God. We don't have to blame anyone for the heart attack which we have had, unless it is caused by some underlying, like, a condition which is, genetically inborn in us. Well, it may exist, yes. Okay. But those are different things which are beyond our control. Okay. So amount, timing, and type of food that we eat is causing insulin resistance and inflammation. So this is controllable. So what was the bigger lesson I learned? The bigger lesson I learned, not only about food, okay, not only about metabolic syndrome, not only about sugar, okay. We cannot learn and accept everything from our older generation. Because for ages, people have been telling, eat more rice, it's good for you, eat bread, it's healthy, eat cereals, it's healthy, and all rice and cereal is carbohydrate, which turns into more sugar into our body. So we cannot learn and accept everything from our older generation because science progresses. Science reveals deeper truth through time. Okay, so we cannot accept everything and just live exactly as our ancestors taught us. The second fact I learned is we cannot learn and accept everything from our own past experience alone because we are not old enough. We are just maybe some 50, 60 years, 70 years, 80 years. We are not a 1,000-year-old person to have experienced everything. Okay. So we cannot learn and accept everything alone from our experience. So the only way for us to learn is through learning from truth. And I came to understand, and I came to accept, and I came to realize that truth is not something which you can just get it as it is. It has to be revealed by God. Okay. So Now, this heart problem, this research led me, number one, to learn about food, but it helped me to learn about something even bigger, that truth has to be revealed by God. And truth will be revealed by God when you search it with His assistance. Okay. So the little bit I learned was a revelation from God, not anything out of my own effort, not anything by anybody else. How did I find these research doctors? How did I find their research material? How was it able for me to understand facts which were so consistent with so many doctors? It's a revelation. Okay. Not only about my health, I learned so many things which were revealed by God, which I want to share with you all, and I want to glorify God for this great learning which I had. Okay. Okay. Now I move on to the third part of my sharing. What worked for me? What exactly worked for me? Okay. Call to healthy life. So, dear family members, friends, healthy life is something which is mandatory to us, given by God, if at all we believe that our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. Now, if I was born without a hand, I would accept it because that's how God created me. If I was born without one kidney, I'd accept it because that's how God created me. But if God had created me with two kidneys, one liver, two eyes, a mouth, a tongue, a healthy heart, and if I go and meddle with it, I am meddling with the design of God for me. Now, that's very serious. That's very, very serious. God didn't come and tell us, hey, go and eat whatever you want, whatever time you want, okay? And you live the life because you are here for a while and you enjoy this life, okay? So some people, sometimes we say, my body, I will eat the way I want, I live the way I want, I don't care if I die. Yes, we don't care if we die, only if we can say that we alone are living. I have a brother, a sister, a son, a daughter, a mother, a father, a wife, a husband, an uncle, an auntie, friends, relatives. Then I am living for the people who are around me. I'm not just living for myself. And I have to be responsible to live to be the person I need to be for these people around me. That is the call to healthy life, which I learned in this experience. I need to take charge. I need to take charge of my health as a serious matter, not just listen to the doctor and then take the medication they give me and leave it as it is, and every month and go and take tons and tons of medication and eat and wait to die. I refuse to do that. That is the thing which I refuse to do. I said, enough of this lifestyle. Too bad, okay? Doctors are giving miracles for us, but too bad they do not have the time to walk with us to find out exactly what's going wrong with us individually. Doctors don't have the time. Why? Because there are so many patients as far as the government is concerned. And as far as the private is concerned, if the doctor were to spend enough time for them to chat with you and find out what exactly is the root cause of your disease, then it's going to be too expensive for you to pay. So either way, doctors don't have the time. Doctors don't have the energy, okay? So we need to play a role in taking charge of our own body by cooperating with the doctors, helping the doctors to giving them information which they don't have, and helping ourselves to gain information which doctors don't have on ourselves, and complementing with what the doctors are doing with us. That's very important. That's what I learned. And that's what I call as the call to healthy life. Okay. So doctors gave me 8 types of medication. I told the doctor I'm going to get rid of the 8th medication because I vowed to the doctor, I want to kick my type 2 diabetes off. So I'm going to stop eating my diabetes medicine. And the doctor, the cardiologist who gave me the medication agreed. Okay. So, and in 1 month, I kicked the type 2 diabetes away from me. Okay. I kicked it out of me for good. So I don't take the diabetes medication anymore at the consent of the doctor, not on my own decision. Okay. So there are 7 more medications I take daily, 3-4 times. Okay. So as one great doctor says, every pill comes with a ill. So every pill has a side effect. So how can I come out of these pills? Pills only will take away symptoms. It's not going to take away my root cause. I will have to also take charge of changing my lifestyle. If not, I can rest assured the other three blocks I have will grow. They will become 90%. And I will go for a second heart attack, third heart attack, fourth heart attack, and I will be keeping on putting stents into my heart. Okay, so much so that my entire arteries will be filled with metal piece. I can't even go under metal detector after that. Okay, so I don't want that to be my life. Okay, so now these are the things which worked for me. I want to share with you the research I did. Okay, now I put a stop to rice, okay, and bread. I'm not asking you to put a stop to rice. Okay, okay, so because for me it is stop and nothing less than stop. That was for me personally. Okay. No way the doctors told me to stop eating rice or bread. Okay. But as long as I learned that I have enough carbohydrate and enough sugars, which I'm eating naturally, I don't need rice and sugar in my daily intake. You know how much a bowl of rice is equivalent to? A bowl of rice that we eat daily is equivalent to 10 teaspoons of sugar. Now imagine who would want to mix a glass of coffee, put 10 teaspoons and sugar in it, stir it and drink it. We won't. But when we eat a bowl of rice, that's exactly what we are eating. Okay. So I wanted to reduce it. I could have reduced it, but I wanted to stop it. Did I stop it for good? Not really. Once in a month, once in 2 months, once in 4, 5 weeks, I go out to eat with the family. There's an occasion, there's a celebration. I will take rice, even biryani. And the amount of rice I will take is 2 tablespoons. Okay. That was the discipline I promised to myself. Bread, I stopped because bread is made out of wheat, which is again carbohydrate. 2 loaves of bread, whether it is white bread or whether it is, the brown one, the wholemeal one, which is equivalent to about 1, 2, 3, 4, about 8, the blocks of that sugar cubes. Okay. So, brown bread has a little bit less, okay, insulin spike. That's all. In terms of carbohydrate level, almost the same. Okay. So I stopped bread. On top of that, bread has something called gluten, which is not healthy for us. Okay. So I stopped. So can we take bread? I believe yes, once in a while, a little bit. Okay. But for me, I stopped. I'm just sharing what I did. Okay. So I stopped eating pizza, roti canai, okay, or naan, okay, the bread for breakfast, because I found out all types of bread has a glycemic index. That means sugar level spike more than 50%. If it is more than 50%, that means it will cause an insulin spike, which can lead to insulin resistance and which can lead to diabetes if you have it a lot. Okay, so I wanted to control this. I stopped this. Okay. Okay. Cereals. When I came out of Alur Gaja Hospital, I went to the supermarket. I bought good cereals. They said muesli la, oats la. Okay. And then when I started eating those, and when I started testing my blood sugar level, nothing started going down. After I ate, it only started increasing. Okay. So, and I started researching. Every one of those specialists whom I researched on told me these food are not going to help you reduce your insulin resistance. Neither is it heart healthy as we used to believe it to be. Yes. Why? Because they are either carbohydrate or they are kanji or they are genetically modified. They are processed, which is going to become something not good for us. So I stopped eating all those. I stopped eating all those. Can you eat it? I believe yes, maybe to a certain extent, but not too much. But I stopped it. I stopped rice. I stopped bread. I stopped cereals. I stopped processed food. You know what's processed food? All those things which comes in a box, all those things which you find in the supermarket, which has a label on it. It doesn't grow on a plant. It doesn't come out of the sea. It doesn't come out of, an animal. Okay. So it's not a fruit. Okay. It's man-made. These are what we call as processed foods. Processed foods could be snacks, foods could be biscuits, and even processed oil. Processed oil is so much dangerous, so dangerous. Okay. So I decided if I see in a box there is a label telling you ingredients, that means it's processed. Okay, so if the ingredient has more than one word in it, then telling meat, okay, it has a second word, that means there is an additive, that means it's processed. Okay, and if you go to the supermarket, you will never find anything which doesn't have sugar. Okay, so for me, I reduced almost 90% of the processed foods. Okay, once in a blue moon, I will take a snack now and then, but I got rid of all those processed oils. I only take coconut oil or ghee or butter or olive oil, okay, which is not highly processed, okay. So these oils I stopped, okay. Anything processed, I stopped. I'm just sharing with you what I stopped. Okay, alcohol. Doctors asked me, do you drink? I said, yeah, I consume. Probably my consumption rate is like about 2 pints in a month. I'm not a daily drinker. 2 pints in a month, okay? So they said, okay, so if that is the case, you are drinking less than us. That's what the 2, 3 doctors told me. But my research did tell me even a spoonful of alcohol can lead to some danger in your body. Okay, so I decided not to drink, at least for the time being. Okay, now what is the most wonderful drink I used to enjoy other than the coffee is a certain brand big beer called Erdinger. Okay, it's German beer. I even stopped that. Okay, so I stopped that. Okay, so I'm just sharing with you the things which I stopped. What did I start to eat? I started to eat fruits. Fruits I will run away from. Okay, sometimes this one avocado fruit can be my entire dinner. You know why? It has sufficient nutrients and sufficient calories to turn into your dinner or maybe even your lunch. 2 avocados can become your lunch or your dinner, and it's natural food which does not harm you in any way. And the carbohydrate it has is very well balanced because of its fiber contents. So I started eating fruits. I'm just showing one example of a good fruit I ate. Okay. And I also started eating other fruits which we usually don't eat, like pomegranate. I can eat one pomegranate as a breakfast or even as a lunch or even as a dinner. Okay, an entire pomegranate mixed with yogurt, and it's an entire meal. Okay, now bottom line, what I'm trying to say is I'm not asking everyone to go and eat pomegranate or avocado. What I'm trying to say is I started increasing the dosage of full fruit, and I don't take fruit juices. Why? Because the full fruit has its fiber to control the sugar in our body, and then it has all the vitamins still intact, and that gives us sufficient energy for our sucrose, glucose, or whatever sugar needs by the body. Okay, so body can only metabolize 3 kinds of energy sources. That's carbohydrate, fat, and protein. And the carbohydrate is the sugars which come out of carbohydrate is there in the fruits. Is there in the fruits. So I don't really need to take sugar at all. Okay, so I started eating lots and lots of fruits. I started eating lots and lots of vegetables. I started eating lots and lots of meat. Yeah, what meat? If I like it, I eat. Okay. I started eating lots and lots of nuts. Name it, what nuts? Brazil nut, okay, almonds, okay, cashew nuts. I started eating all those, okay, and I started to control the high carbohydrate food, either eliminate many of those or reduce many of them to a bare minimum. Okay, so I learned that whole grains are better than, okay, processed grains. So if you're eating white rice, the whole grain rice is slightly better. Okay, whole fruit is a world better than fruit juice. Okay, because it has the fiber in it. These are things which I did. I will go for whole items, either whole grain, whole fruit, whole, not processed, not genetically modified by anyone or anything. Okay. Okay. All this thing came to something which I learned myself as a discipline. Okay. I learned to discipline my hunger. I learned to discipline my eating habit. Okay. That's what I learned to do. Okay. Discipline. So it's not about anything else. Not about knowledge. It's not about anything else. I found out it's about disciplining. Okay. I also found out that if I had the motivation to go and eat in a certain style, that motivation will end. But if I turned it into a discipline, a daily discipline, then that discipline will go on and on and on until it becomes a habit. And if that discipline is a good discipline, that habit is going to make good for me. And the discipline of eating the right food at the right time became very important for me. And I trained myself to do that over the last 8 months. Do I fail at times? Can I keep that discipline at times? There have been times I have failed, okay? Either because I'm traveling or for some reason, but I'll come back to it. I'll put back that discipline into myself. That's the biggest lesson I learned. Okay, now I want to tell you 3 things which I did which benefited me, and I will show you what it did to me. Number one, I stopped sugar. Zero sugar. I don't put sugar in coffee. I don't put sugar in milk. I don't put sugar on anything. No sugar, no processed sugar. Okay? No sugar anywhere. I stopped processed food. Okay? Stopped processed food. Anything which comes in a packet, I stopped. I stopped processed oil. Okay? I only eat, as I told you, okay, ghee, okay, or butter, or coconut oil, okay, cold pressed coconut oil or olive oil. Of course, there are many more other expensive non-processed oils, but you can't afford to buy it. So the one which we can buy and afford, we do. And of course, we don't want to drink oil telling that this is not harmful to us. Too much fat is also going to be bad. But we don't use the processed oil. That's what I eliminated. I eliminated these. I stopped these for myself. I ate this way: 70% vegetables and fruits, 20% fish, meat, and fats, and only 10% carbohydrates. Any kind of carbohydrates like rice or cereal or anything at all, okay? Carbohydrates. This became my eating pattern, okay? And the third most important thing I did, which is as important as anything else, is when you eat, okay? I follow something I call as a time restricted eating pattern. I need to stress here, this is not what you call as intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting is not this. That is something else. That is something where people don't eat for 15 hours, 20 hours, and then they eat again and so on. This is eating at the right timing when God designed you to eat. Okay? This is proven by scientific fact. And in fact, we learned it in science long time ago. We never paid attention to it during our early lessons, but now it has come back to bite us. Okay? Okay, but I stop eating. I stop eating. I have my dinner latest by 7 p.m. Okay, mostly I target at 6:30 p.m., but latest by 7 p.m. Unless you really are forced to eat beyond that. Okay, once in a blue moon. Okay, and after that, I don't take any food. If I am hungry, I only take some plain water, no milk, no drink, no juice, nothing. And I start eating my breakfast after 7 a.m. This 12 hours as it was taught to us by our primary science and secondary science, is for the body to recover from its work in the daytime, the functions of the melatonin and so on, to repair itself. And we do not want to disturb the body from repairing itself. We want the body to rest and recover so that it can function well the next day. So I eat anytime during the day, no restrictions. For me, the only restriction is I need to eat breakfast at a certain time, lunch at a certain time, and dinner at a certain time, at least 4 hours apart, because the doctors have loaded me with medication, which I need to take 4 hours apart. Otherwise, at daytime, I don't have to restrict when I eat, but I only restrict what I eat. Okay? Like in the center image, the 70% vegetable, 20% fish, meat, and fats, and 10% carbohydrates. Okay? I did these 3 things, and I do these 3 things on a continued basis. What happened to me? My weight came down from 94 kg to 73 kg, not because I had a heart attack. I walked out of the Alur Gaja hospital 1 kg more than what I was when I walked into the Alur Gaja hospital. 1 kg more, because there also they gave me rice and bread. Okay. So I lost 20 kg through the 3 things I did. Okay. And I'm not going to talk about exercise. Exercise is important. Doctors tell it, so we listen, we do it. Okay. That's important for us. I do not want to take this time to talk about exercise, because I learned in our health, exercise plays 20%, and 80% of the whole game is ruled by food, what we eat. Now, the 20% is an important factor, and the 80% is much, much more important. So you cannot outrun the food you eat. You cannot outwalk the food you eat. You cannot out-exercise the food you eat if those food is more than what is needed or the wrong type than what is needed. So that's what I learned through my research. So my weight came down from 94 kg to 73 kg just by these 3 things. My daily sugar reading used to be around 6.5, sometimes will go to 7 or 8, went down to below 5, sometimes 4 point something on a consistent manner. My blood pressure went below 120 to 70. I was always having borderline pressure, even with medication before this. My daily leg pain, because of probably my weight, disappeared. I sleep better. I moved from pre-diabetic to insulin sensitive, and a big portion of my belly disappeared. And I had one ill effect because of all this. I gained all this, but I had one ill effect. Okay, 90% of my pants and my shirt is not wearable anymore. Okay, so I just put it one side, either to give it away, and I need to buy new pants or new shirt. Okay, so am I fully healthy? No, I'm far by being fully healthy. Am I reducing the risk of another heart attack? Most possibly, and hopefully. Then what then am I sure of? By God's grace, in these 7 months, I am sure that I have taken charge of my health. I have started to learn what works for me and what is not good for me. And that's important for me, because God gave me this body to be taken care of and not ignored. Okay. So I believe that there will be improvements in my heart. I believe. I don't believe that those plagues will disappear like magic, because once there, it's there. Okay, there's no magic to take it away. Okay, and even when you put a stent, more plagues can happen if there's continued inflammation. Plague will be there. But what I believe is, because I have taken charge of my eating habit, because I have turned my insulin resistance into insulin sensitivity, I will reduce inflammation in my body. And that will turn into less incidence of plaque breaking and thickening. That will lead into less metabolic syndrome and disease caused by sugars and all sorts of other disease. That will make me into a healthier person. That's what I am sure of. And that's what I want to share with you. It worked for me. Will it work for you? Well, I don't know. It depends on each person's body, each person's metabolic rate, each person's pre-existing conditions, pre-existing medical conditions, what you are going through, which you are the specialist on that, and your doctor needs to be aware of that. But some of the truth I have shared with you today are universal truths which we need to take charge of. Now, why do we want to eat sugar if sugar is bad for us? Why do we want to continue eating so much of carbohydrate if it is not doing any good for us? When we can find carbohydrate sources in fruits, okay, and in good sources, why do we eat at night when it's doing nothing good for us? Now, these are the kind of things I am trying to promote to myself and convince myself, which I wanted to share. So, my friends, I thank you for listening to this for me. I want to go back to this. The three things I want to share with you all is basically this thing. Stop this, eat this, do this. Okay. So I'm going to stop my sharing and I want to open up for anyone who want to say something, ask something, or comment on something. You may unmute yourself and just say something if you have something to say.
Hello.
Yes, Akka, you have anything to ask?
Yeah, I just like to know, Ramesh, prior to your heart attack, did you have diabetes?
I had a condition called pre-diabetes, okay, and my sugar used to be fluctuating, and in fact, doctors did suggest me to take diabetic medication, okay, and in fact, when I was in Alur Gaja, they gave me diabetic medication, but I went back and told the doctor, I want to stop it. I want to control my sugar. And after I was able to reverse this insulin resistance, the doctor said, yes, go ahead and stop it.
Okay. Then another thing, what is it? You're talking about this low glycemic index and all that. I just like to suggest to you. I think I'm sure you know about all the those food with low glycemic index. Have you tried chickpea or not?
Yes, I do take chickpea. It's low glycemic index. It's high in protein. But I'm not a real friend of chickpea,
Not a real fan of chickpea.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I do take it. It's I do take it. Yeah.
What about kaver? What is that? Millet?
Yeah. So
Okay.
the first month of my condition, I got overexcited. I went to the shop. I went into the organic section and I bought all the kind of things like millet la, quinoa la, and all sorts of things. Okay, and which cost me a bomb to buy. And within the next
Yeah,
month,
organic food.
yeah. So after the second month, I stopped buying those, not because they are not good, but I just couldn't afford. And I found that just by eating the right fruit, the right amount of carbohydrate, the right amount of vegetables, which is easily available, the right amount of fish, I am able to put myself in the right nutrition level very well. Okay, so I just did that eventually.
Oh, that's good. It's good. I'm sure you are aware. I mean, because my husband is diabetic, so from what I gather, you're taking a lot of fruits. But there's portion, isn't it? How much fruits? Like a papaya is just a slice of papaya, or banana, a small banana, or what is it? Am I correct?
Yes, yeah, of course. We do not want to, overeat on fruits because that itself can mean too much of sugar in our body. Again, insulin spike. Okay, so if we have diabetes, it's a good thing. There's this thing. I have not bought it yet, but I intend to buy it. Something called a continuous glucose monitor. So, which is able to monitor our glucose on an ongoing basis, 24 hours a day. We can wear it, for a couple of weeks to test out what type of food, how much of food is spiking the glucose, and then we can learn from it. So now I'm learning it the hard way, after eating, after 1 hour, 2 hours, I just do a blood check and then see. And yeah, overeating, any of this is going to be a problem. Any of the foods, either vegetable or anything, some will lead to angin, some will lead to too much of fat, some will lead to too much of protein, and everything else goes wrong when portion is not maintained.
Okay. Thank you, Ramesh. All praise and glory to God.
Thank you.
Hello, my friend, Patrick
Yes,
here.
Patrick.
Anyway, first and foremost, I think I have to thank God for giving you a second life. I think he has not had enough of you, because so many more things to do. So I think it's just keeping you going and going and going. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank God for that. Good to see you. I mean, you look healthy now. It's a journey and it's a process. I understand that. Okay. And I just wanted to check with you. You have, based on your diet and all, you don't get gastrics.
Okay.
Gastric.
Yeah, I used to have gastric earlier, okay, before I got my heart attack. And believe me, I will take at least 2 of those, that comes in a sachet, some kind of the gastric medicine. I forgot its name.
Is it Gaviscon?
Gaviscon, yes.
Okay.
Gaviscon, and then Nexium, I used to buy $80 one small, box and all. I used to take that. Okay.
Yeah.
After I changed my diet, this entire thing just disappeared. So why is that? I take a lot of fermented food like yogurt, probiotic based food, fermented food, which helps the gut health. So in fact, that had helped me in getting rid of my gastric actually. There are some kind of vegetable, if you eat, you will get too much of gastric, some kind of, the lentils you eat, you will get gastric. So it's very important for us to maintain our gut health, I believe. So for me, what helped is I never used to eat yogurt. I was a yogurt hater. Now I make my yogurt every day, every week at home, and I eat yogurt as a compulsory thing. And I take fermented food, which has helped me in my gut health. So that actually took away my gastric.
Oh, that's good tips. I think I need to start doing that too.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you for your wonderful sharing, your deep sharing. It definitely will benefit everyone. Like Melanie is here to say hi to you too.
Yeah. Hi, Melanie.
Okay, Ramesh. You take care, Ramesh. Thank you very much. Yeah,
Thank you.
But do give us tips on and off when we meet each other.
Sure.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just now you mentioned ghee, Ramesh.
Yes, Ate.
Ghee. You did mention, right?
Yes, I did mention ghee.
Because for century-old, they say take considerable amount. And what is your experience?
I can't. Your line is breaking, Ate.
Oh, now what is your experience with the ghee?
Okay, ghee. Okay, when I said ghee, it doesn't mean that I just go and consume a lot of ghee. Instead of, we want to cook something, instead of putting vegetable oil, I'll put ghee or coconut oil or olive oil, or maybe even butter if I want to fry an egg or something like that. Okay, so that's what I meant. So now these oil are not processed, and now scientifically they have found that these oil are more friendly to our body. With a caution, too much of any oil, whether it be ghee or butter or coconut oil or anything, will also lead to too much of saturated fat and, make us, fatty again. And that's also not too good. But I think the right amount of ghee, to transit into healthier fat than the processed fat. That's the context I have used ghee in, and I find it, and of course, for me, I love it because it's not only harming me with the processed poison, but it's also making my food tastier.
How about the knife brand and all that, the groundnut oil, is it?
Yeah,
Or palm oil?
all processed oil are next to poison, they say, but we are consuming it. That's why sometimes we just cannot control all the poison that's around us. So we got to try to eat as much at home. When we go out, there's no such thing as we are eating healthy food. We can only reduce the amount of poison. Okay. So, processed oil has its danger.
Thank you.
Okay. Others, raise
Sorry,
the hand.
I've forgotten to ask you, Ramesh. Sorry.
Yes.
What sort of coconut oil you're referring to? Is it virgin oil or how?
Okay.
Melanie
Yeah,
is
I
asking
think it's a extra virgin cold pressed coconut oil. So I
Oh.
don't buy all those brand which says extra virgin, which costs like 100 ringgit a bottle or what.
Oh, yeah.
I,
costly.
I go to the A1, which has one brand called Annachi, which is about 20 ringgit or something like that.
Oh,
So I
okay.
use it's just cold pressed coconut oil.
Okay, so I think I need to make friends with Annachi now.
Yeah, you got to make friends with Annachi now.
Okay. Thank you, thank you. Bye.
And coconut milk, Ramesh, have you had any?
Coconut
Uh,
milk, yes,
yeah.
coconut milk they say is good, but I don't really like coconut milk, so I never took it. Okay, so I'm not a fan of coconut milk, so I never tried on it as well.
Because it's extensively used in the curry, yeah? Yeah.
Yes, yes, you're right.
Ramesh,
Yes, Chitapa,
good evening.
good evening.
Thanks for your wonderful sharing.
Welcome.
You are creating a lot of awareness among us. Too much of carbohydrates, too much of sugar, lack of exercise, sitting for too long, watching TV, laptop, handphone. I think a lot of these things, I think you have created awareness among ourselves to go easy on all these things. Especially, you gave us a lot of ideas on diet, which is very, very important. And I can see that you look very healthy now. Keep it up. Ramesh,
Yeah, thank you, Chitapa.
thanks for sharing with us.
Thank
And
you.
maybe we must get in touch with you too. I think we are all very, very guilty, all of us, after listening to you, feel so guilty on our carbohydrate intake, sugar intake, and so many of us don't even do any kind of exercise. So
Yes,
all that are really create so much awareness. And thanks for sharing with us. And also very happy to hear that you've been given a second life and so positive in your thoughts and words. It's a kind of inspiration, I think, to all who have heard from you. And
thank
do
you,
keep us
Chitapa.
in touch. And I think we must call you and off and on get some inspiration from you. Thanks,
Thank you.
Ramesh.
Thank you, Chitapa. Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Okay, if there's no one else who wishes to share anything or ask anything, I would like to thank you all for joining in this sharing session. Okay, thank you for your comments, thank you for your compliments, and also thank you for listening to my story. And God bless you all. And let us wish all ourselves a healthy lifestyle and a good life in this world. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Okay, night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.